Hi, my name is Lily Zemer, Technical Service Manager with FMC for Nebraska and Colorado, and with me is
Gail Stratman. I'm the Regional Technical Manager with FMC as well.
So today we're going to get the chance to talk about Western bean cutworm and kind of control here across the state of Nebraska and maybe some considerations. So Gail, do you want to tell us a little bit about Western bean, its life cycle, and maybe when we should be thinking about treating for that pest?
So Western bean's an insect that overwinters as a pupae, comes out usually in late June to early July and infects our corn or infests our corn, in that stage of just prior to tassel or right at tassel. And then as an ear-feeding insect, it's a worm that can really do extensive damage to ears, cause a lot of ear molds from the damage, and a lot of yield loss when we get severe infestations in our cornfields.
Yeah, and I think another consideration, Gail, is those Western bean cutworm really like to overwinter in those sandy soils. So we can kind of find in sandier parts of the state and sandier fields, those fields seem to be more at risk. When we talk about control, Gail, we know that there's a trait on the market that provides control, that VIP3A trait. However, when we talk a little bit more in depth, there's a lot of hybrids that don't have that trait. So when we're talking about chemical control, what are some considerations?
Well, like you said, majority of our BT traits don't have effective control of Western bean cutworm. There is that one that does, but when we talk about, so we rely heavily on chemical control. Primarily, we're looking at both our pyrethroids, classic chemistry, so we're looking at our hero type chemistry, or then we're looking at our alternative chemistries like Vantacor, which are highly effective. Of course, Vantacor is the one we're going to lead with because of its long residual, its systemic movement, and highly effective on those worm species. But Hero can have a place too where we need fast control. We're maybe getting them in the silks in the ear and we need to back them out of there a little bit. Maybe that's probably going to be our option. Going to be a shorter residual material. So if we're looking for extended residual, we're definitely going to be looking for products like Vantacor or Elevest, which contain that alternative or that diamide mode of action that's going to be the most effective on those worm species, including Western bean cutworm.
Yeah, Gail, I think another point with the Vantacor piece and the long-lasting residual is the moth flights for Western bean cutworm are not very short. We've seen that they've been extended for some time now, so having that long-lasting residual carries us through the moth flight for complete control.
Yeah, it's extended out over the last decade or two. It used to be a really short peak, but it's gotten longer, and so it's putting more pressure on our products to, one, be timed right, but two, have more residual, and that's really where we've seen effective control with things like Vantacor and Elevest really kind of shine when we look at these insecticide choices for Western bean cutworm.
Well, thanks for listening, and we hope that you found a couple more insights on Western bean cutworm control here in the state of Nebraska.